Nope. Wasn't my intention.
And yeah, we should be good now.
As Commander Holt said on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That one really stood out to me.
We should be good to go, people. So we are streaming right now, just to let you know.
Oh.
We are live. I have already
Hello,
swapped
people
scenes.
on the internet.
Yeah, for those of you who are out there watching
I...
right now, please let me know if you're hearing us and all that sort of stuff, because I'm on my stream and running Skype and everything else. I do have my chat bot up, so I should be able to read everything that everyone says without needing the stream up. So, again, this is an impromptu one, so I'll just go ahead and start since I'm the host. I am your wonderful little Data Monkey Coper, and with me tonight is...
No, we didn't take an order.
We didn't have an order!
Again, I don't care. This is totally impromptu. This is going to be so half-assed that I have no idea.
I wrote notes.
He did. He told me.
I didn't know you guys took
we
over
can
the
use the
Toonami
notes.
Faithful, our Toonami Squad Sessions podcast.
I would never.
So we
Toonami
already have sketch.
skeptics.
So we have sketch.
No, I
as you
had
walk in
an
here.
official name for this. Hashed it out.
Yeah,
Toonami
I got it all set up
edition.
on the screen. I have it all set up on the scene I made. Got the sad Tom with hash it out underneath it in the text that JXRRD Rushing made. But yeah, I'm the Data Monkey. We got Sketch. And the other two can introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Sam.
Yo, it's me. It's RTE. Don East. That went over badly.
You don't know if it did.
It almost sounded like you were gonna break into a rap.
Almost.
Can you smell what the dawn is cooking?
So since Meowth actually brings up since Meowth brings up a good point in the chat, what is hash it out again? What is our point for tonight?
Well, you see, just hash it out could be a series of videos, just kind of discussing whatever. Oh gosh, Siri, shut up.
And keep it in mind,
iPhone,
this
you're
will
too
likely
smart
not
for
be
your own
professional anyway.
It's a series of videos of just talking about controversial opinions and ranting, basically, because it's okay to debate. It's okay to be skeptical. It's okay to criticize. You just got to do it in a healthy way and not in like don't be a shithead.
Rose.
And Wheaton's Law, don't be a dick.
Yeah, exactly. Wheaton's Law. And
Boy,
I don't mind civil discourse, so I thought, let's do something like this. Let's give it a shot. I know some people who were pretty fed up with what Toonami's been up to lately, and I'm starting to feel what they're feeling. So I thought, why the hell not? Let's do it. Let's
After
get it
so
all out
long,
there.
he's slowly converting to my side. Yay!
Let's not go that far. See, let us preface this as if we all appreciate Toonami. We all appreciate that Toonami exists and the hard work that the people that work on Toonami put towards it. We appreciate all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And we love Toonami. We have loved Toonami. We're not mad. We're just disappointed. Okay? We're just
concerned.
disappointed.
And some
Yeah,
ways,
and-
disappointed can be way worse than being mad.
Isn't it though? I mean, when somebody you care about says that they're mad at you, that elicits a response. But when they say they're disappointed in you, you're like, oh.
Everything's fucked now.
Now, personally, I don't think. I think Jason has always been of the opinion that he's going to disappoint some people. He understands that. And sometimes he takes their criticism well, and other times he really goes to town on the trolls. But that's usually earned because, let's be honest, I feel like it's literally the same person hounding his Ask.fm with the same stupid questions.
Well, you have to
'Cause it all
remember that since it's an
sounds the
Anon
same.
Ask, it's anonymity sucks on the internet.
Yeah. But you can kind of feel like it's the same person based on the tone, or the same group of people anyway. Because it constantly brings up the same topics, particularly things like SAO is the worst thing Toonami ever did. Why would you ever play that? Don't ever play it again. And Don has feelings about that, but we're not going to get into SAO today.
I kind of miss SAO and that it's fun to make fun of.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's cathartic.
That show was bad because you could make fun of it. It was a show that deserved the criticism.
Exactly.
I have more fun.
It's fun.
I had more fun watching that than I do with Hunter x Hunter currently. Oh!
That's
I've been out of
I've
Hunter
never
x
seen
Hunter
Hunter x
since.
but we're not going to get into it.
I haven't been watching Hunter x Hunter since last year, since Tokyo Ghoul came on. So I'm like, oh, I'm way behind on that. So
You haven't
Fair.
missed much.
You pretty much ducked out of Toonami whenever Tokyo Ghoul started.
that's not entirely true, but we're not fully getting into that. This isn't like that topic that we're talking about.
No,
I was gonna say, yeah. So what is the first topic we're going with? Are we going with the Toonami discussion first, or what? We had about 4 or 5, so.
I think the Toonami discussion should be first because it's where most of the conversation belongs. I'm going to put it as kind of an outside perspective. See, I watch shows with a local friend that air on Toonami. He used to watch One Piece with me every week. We watched Hunter x Hunter every week. We watched Lupin. We watched Space Dandy. We watched One Punch Man. Yada, yada. He never really took to JoJo, but what you going to do? But currently, ever since Lupin ended, it's just Hunter x Hunter. Out of all the shows that Toonami airs, that's the only one he cares to watch with me. And that's why I've kept up with Hunter x Hunter. And that's pretty much the only reason that I have, because I've fallen off JoJo. Got kind of bored with it, to be honest. And obviously I'm watching Fooly Cooly Progressive, but we'll get into that later. But like Dragon Ball, my gosh, man, I haven't like intended to watch Dragon Ball in months. Not because I don't like it. I like Dragon Ball. I don't care. I don't care. I watched a couple episodes of My Hero Academia on Toonami, just, show some support because I like that show. But it's not enough to make me, like, go out of my way to watch it. And if I have work late on a Saturday, I'm just not going to watch Toonami. That's just the way it is. But I think it's complicated. But I'm bored. I'm bored with Toonami.
I
Agreed.
I think we all feel the same way right now because
I think honestly last year they made some mistakes. The biggest mistake was rerunning Samurai Jack right after it aired. That was a terrible idea.
Oh,
you're
don't
gonna
get
do
me
it.
started on that.
Don't put it in the first slot. And at least they realized that, and they corrected it. But damage done.
Oh god, that was such a dumb
As
move.
much as I don't like Tokyo Ghoul, I don't really think that was a terrible choice. Maybe not the best choice. We should have got My Hero Academia then. But
Well, it was still
I
locked
don't
out
think
apparently, and
other
then it
than
mythically
Samurai
came back.
Jack, it was really
It magic.
not that bad of a year, really. But this year's been boring.
Yeah.
Just anything that was interesting
Yes.
is a holdover from last year, and it's boring, and it's
Well,
sad.
We started out this year with no new shows. We just got a rerun of Space Dandy, and we waited until last month where we got our first show announcement, which was My Hero Academia. And, you know, despite what people say on the internet about what I think about My Hero Academia, the anime I have mixed feelings on. I like the show, I like the manga, but I do feel like the anime has its problems. However, I'm not really excited that it's on Toonami. I'm glad that they got it while the hype was still going on, but right now we were like in Shonen overload mode. Like, okay, we have 2 Dragon Ball shows, My Hero Academia, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Hunter x Hunter, Black Clover, and Naruto Shippuden as your premieres, with Fooly Cooly being the only thing on the block right now with any variety. So
I have said this for so long that should have never have happened. I had been saying that since OG Naruto got picked up way back when. It was like, just don't go down this road. I get it's going to be really good ratings, but it's just like, dude, you are going to make the block boring.
I mean, I'm fine with like maybe 3 or 4 long runners, but look at this lineup and tell me, did you think you want this entire lineup to just be nothing but long runners? I personally didn't. I didn't want that 4 years ago. I wanted some variety.
No, I didn't want this. I didn't want this at all.
3, 4,
I was totally
5 I can live with, but 8? No. It's too many.
I get why they take the shows, but it's just like, this is where my whole problem with the action block mentality kind of gets in front, because it's just like, you're Adult Swim. I get you want to keep the action, sure, fine, whatever. But you have so many opportunities right now to go outside the normal barriers of what you could have done with this. Why are you not doing that? Or if you do, it's like maybe one time a year, and then everything else is the same thing, and it's just like, crying out loud, guys. I mean, you really started digging this hole once Kai came out, and you've just been going further and further down.
I kind of attribute that problem a lot to back in 2014 where they picked up very risky titles like Black Lagoon and Hellsing Ultimate. And, well, I don't know how those panned out for Adult Swim, but the final 2 episodes of Hellsing Ultimate, I can kind of say, did not work out in their favor.
Well, yeah, but the last 2 episodes of Hellsing Ultimate were also airing during the Movie Month Mark II, which was confirmed a failure. So, I mean, I'd have been more curious if
let's talk about
they
that
hadn't
a little
done
bit
it that
more,
way, but...
Well,
the whole Movie Month 2 thing was a failure because they just reran the same movies, and I think it was Mood Whiplash that they went from. Yeah, it was like Hellsing Ultimate.
The reruns actually did fine. It's the new stuff that did bad.
Irony.
What was the new stuff? It was what? Full Metal Alchemist, Sacred Star of Milos. They aired Brawly that year. They re-aired Summer Wars and Akira.
Actually, Broly did fine. It's just Full Metal Alchemist tanked, Hellsing Ultimate Episode 10 tanked, and then it was like Akira and like...
I did all right.
Yeah, Akira and...
It was weird that they played Summer
Wars
up first.
Yeah,
and
that threw me off.
Fine.
May I chime in here?
Summer Wars. Yes, please.
Well, I'm not sure about any of you guys, but I am probably the oldest fan here. I've watched Nami since St. Patrick's Day 97. First show I watched was Voltron. I was there for the beginning. I was there for the fall in 2008.
Fall is just something that grown-ups invented.
Don't trigger us, bro. And I remember...
Actually, that was a good thing they did, but that whole concept was bad. But keep going, sir. I apologize.
Yeah, it's okay. I remember getting excited when April Fool's Day happened in 2012. I was like, oh my god, I am shouting from the heavens. I thought this would just be a one-night deal, but, then, the traction started going. And then
Mhm.
suddenly, next thing you know, suddenly it's what was once Adult Swim action is now Toonami. And it's the Dead Man Wonderland. I loved the first, how it felt like it was like no longer just a kid's block. It's this new
It
thing.
was an
like,
action show for adults.
it was like it grew up with us.
Oh, how times have changed.
No
I mean,
kidding.
there's some things I liked. I really feel 2014 to 2015 was sort of the peak period for Toonami.
Mm,
You had good variety. You had shonen like Soul Eater, One Piece, Naruto. You had stuff that went beyond that realm, like Black Lagoon, Hellsing. You had stuff that was highly requested, like Kill la Kill, which was great. And you had stuff that were a bit more obscure, like
Ichigo and Hachin.
Ichigo and Hachin.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there was SAO, but a comic got killed was kind of fun until they killed off the best character in the last few minutes.
That whole
That
show
show
had
certainly
a big
was
problem with
interesting to
backstory
talk
killing.
about.
That whole
Parasite.
show was a total piece of
Parasite.
shit.
Yeah.
I feel like 2017 is like, by the end of 2016, more like it, is when I just kind of feel like, okay, I'll just do this. I'll just plow right through all this until One Piece and I'm gone. And then they just announced 2 weeks before the big 20th anniversary, One Piece was leaving. I'm like, why would you do that? I mean, okay, why would you announce it? I get why from a business standpoint, but you could just really put a sad cloud over the whole 20th anniversary. And that was just really a sign of bad management. Not to mention they cite it being low ratings, and up to that point, how often did DeMarco and other staff members like, oh well, One Piece, it's doing fine. It's not doing
I
amazing,
hate that
but
phrase so much.
the Bullet Club is fine, basically.
Doing
The room's
fine.
on fire. This is fine.
This is fine. Yeah.
Fine.
And,
Let's this fine is defined by that character on Deadpool 2.
and usually I think a lot of distrust some people have with Toonami management stems from that, and how they kept saying, well, My Hero Academia, we can't get it, rights issue. Oh, look! We got My Hero Academia.
Well, I mean, they probably lucked out on that one. I
It's
feel like
possible.
Agreed.
I mean,
I
is it
think
not
it's
possible to
fine.
sidestep that issue?
It's fine for him to say we couldn't get this show, but he said it so often that
Yeah,
it's kind of like, why are you saying anything? Just don't talk about it. Don't engage.
because first it was we can't get it. He continued to repeat that. Then Funimation was like, oh yeah, season 2 is going exclusive to Hulu. And at that point, pretty much anyone was just like, yeah, no, we're not getting the show. And then boom, we have it. And I'm sitting there going, okay, who fucked up and where to have made this a possibility? Because to all of our knowledge, this was a no-go. So I'm sitting there thinking, either Hulu did something, Funimation did something, either right or wrong, or there was some really weird contractual stuff that they worked out that like mythically managed to get this one. But yeah, I agree with Sketch on that one. It's if there's still a possibility, either say there's a chance or don't say anything at all.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat brings up a good point. Where is Sentai in all this? In 2015, we had several Sentai
They
titles.
want
They
their
left.
shows on Toonami. They want it.
Right now, it's
They
been.
packed up their bags and went the other way.
I mean, right
Not
now
really.
the
Or-
titles are mostly Funimation with some Viz.
I mean, here's the
plus
problem though,
FL
because
Steel.
right now I think Toonami does not look at shows. Jason DeMarco, Gil Austin,
I
they do
think-
not look at things.
That's exactly it.
They are probably seeing
or when
what's
they
highly
do look at it,
requested.
they're watching.
I think they just go with what's highly requested. And people always request shows from Funimation and Viz Media. And that is the worst because it's only the popular of the popular. And that's it. Like
Right.
Those that are already popular. That were
Yeah.
popular 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, and then we're
Yeah.
getting them 2-3 years after they were popular. Hi, Tokyo Ghoul. Thank you for showing your fucking head here.
And they didn't even make good on that by getting the second series immediately.
Yeah, it's like
They could've.
okay. You know, they said that they had a show lined up that was like, oh yeah, that's expected for Toonami, and I'm kind of like, okay, they got Tokyo Ghoul Re pretty fast. Oh no, it's My Hero Academia. Okay, so
Well,
what am I supposed to look forward to
keep in
for this
mind-
year?
Keep in mind here, Jason technically said there were 3 different ones. It was a surprise, confusion, and expected. So assuming we're going in order, My Hero would be the surprise, but I have zero clue how this is going.
I think the next one will be the unexpected one, but
Who knows
I
when
mean-
that's gonna air?
yeah, because we don't like. Here's the thing: right now, we don't know what's happening with DBZ. Like, we don't know if DBZ's staying, if
Take
it's
it
leaving.
off the block.
I want it to go.
I gotta chime in on DBZ. When they first announced that they were gonna play both of them back to back, I was skeptical but willing to believe that it wasn't a terrible idea. And initially, it looked like it worked okay. But then when those DVDs came out, Kai started losing lots and lots of viewers from Super. As Super started getting better, Kai started getting worse.
Mhm.
And it just, there's always been a gap between whatever's after Dragon Ball. That is
Yeah.
a consistent, except with One Punch Man. Bless One Punch Man. But it's just, it seems like now they have 2 big drops. One from a Dragon Ball series after a Dragon Ball series. And that's the very fact that they're even thinking about keeping it is just maddening.
Well, here's
It's
my thing: is
maddening.
like right now, the Boo Saga is probably at a low point. I think people have stopped really caring.
As well they should. The Boo Saga's not good.
Yeah, it
It,
isn't.
it
but
was
but my-
terrible.
but my thing
Android
is
21
like,
was a better Boo.
but my thing is, my thing is that if they keep
The
DBZ on and
sexier
rerun
Boo,
it from the
anyway.
beginning, like we could see spikes into the night in DBZ, like that Dragon Ball hour. I do think that there is enough nostalgia value of DBZ that we'll see rating spikes just from random arcs, and that is the worst because they know that themselves.
And that's why they will hedge their bets on the Saiyan Saga doing better than Boo right now. And it might.
Yeah,
It might. But if they commit to replaying the whole series, that is 4 years.
another
And
4
that
years.
is-
Ugh.
My
Oh.
4
concern-
more years.
My concern is where it's going to be.
It's
Yeah.
going to be
Probably staying
early.
at 11. Like,
Like, is
a fool never
Uh,
learns.
after Super, or are they going to put it after Shippuden?
I would
probably
hope for after
Super,
Shippuden.
if we're lucky, like 12.
I don't even see 12. I think
Ugh.
here's my thing. If they don't announce anything within the next few weeks, I think they're just going to stay quiet and just run DBZ again. They're just going to do that. They're not even going to
It's just
announce
their
a
thing.
I'm
They're
gonna
schedule thing.
call them out so hard.
You know, these are the
Even
guys
if it
who
means
put. Oops, sorry, you go first.
no. Go ahead. I'm just like I'm in that cringy moan state when you just mentioned they might rerun it. Don't God no don't.
I was
Just
going to sing
get it
up
off
that
the block.
that Toonami has put money into a side project they put a lot of effort into, a passion project that they've heavily promoted. And instead of putting it after the biggest show as a lead-in, they put it 2 hours into the block.
Yeah.
They
I
put it
think they're
behind
going
2 glorified reruns. Why would you do that?
This is the angriest I've ever heard him.
Because they want to believe that hype will carry every show, and that's not true. I think they rely way too heavily on their long runners to bring in numbers, and to help
Well,
other
it's
shows
that-
bring in numbers.
Well, it's that, and they sit there and believe that by heavily promoting a show that they honestly think has way more popularity than it does in Fooly Cooley, they sit there and think, oh yeah, we'll get this huge spike. And I'm sitting there going, okay, Jack, I could have seen that for, because Jack had that popularity. Fooly Cooley to me is about like what Dead Man Wonderland was in popularity. Now this is me personally, where it's the whole like, it didn't do nearly as well in Japan, but had a decent American audience. So to me, it's kind of like, okay, I get that you're promoting it, but the network priority ideology that with Jack doesn't really make a whole lot of sense at this point. Especially when people are like, oh, hey, there was one on the NBA game. And I'm sitting there going, why? What?
That was a lot of money wasted.
14 million watched the playoffs. Only 560,000 general viewers watched the premiere of Fooly Cooley.
I mean, for originals, I get it. They want to heavily promote it, but I feel like they overspent their budget on the whole marketing thing.
Oh, yeah. Fuck yes.
Why even bother with the billboards? Why even just put ads on YouTube and streaming services?
That
would have been a much smarter idea.
Because here's the funny thing. I haven't even seen any Fooly Cooley ads on YouTube. Like, no promotion, nothing.
Like at least the original, like the trailer that they did when they did the April Fools this year, that trailer that they released around then, I believe I saw that on YouTube as an ad, but I think that's it.
Yeah, I haven't seen
my personal experience. I'm seeing a lot of Joe Para Talks to You ads, which are very soothing, by the way. That's what's crazy. They're putting a show that's basically ASMR on at midnight on Sunday after Robot Chicken and expecting people to watch.
That's cheap, though. They could probably recoup their budgets.
Yeah,
this show is not cheap. For
no,
a passion
so it's a good
project.
thing it's actually selling digitally.
Yeah, and it's selling digitally well, but I think the network also wants to see some return in ratings form.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the advertisers certainly would.
Well, yeah, that and shareholders as well. I mean, my big question at this point is, given the TV ratings, really right now, I would love to see some, or have some means of even the most basic of information, what the streams are doing at this point. Because to me, it's just like, okay, yeah, the television versions aren't doing well here, so how is the other end of the spectrum going? Because how much is that covering what the television isn't now? And when there's no means of getting that information...
Well, considering that the only way to watch Fooly Cooley is in the United States, we're limiting our reach here, because right now it's locked here, and everywhere else in the world it's fucked.
Shooting yourself in the foot there.
Pirates more fire... Yeah, thanks for giving Pirates more firepower there.
I know that's not Adult Swim's fault. That's more on Toho's part. But it's like, really, guys? You can work out like some deal for Turner to broadcast this worldwide?
It's not like Turner doesn't exist in other countries.
Yeah.
Like, where's the love for Europe? Where's the love for Asia? Where's the love for Canada? This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Not a good plan.
Once I saw that, it was just like, what was the one thing where it was like the one guy was complaining? I think it may have been the one that Jason did today, where it was like you screwed over all the subs, and he's just like, well, that wasn't on us, that was on Toho. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, it doesn't really matter. They're still going to pirate it. I mean, I would be generally curious to see, what's the English to Japanese, fan subbing, area like? That would be kind of interesting to see, because you are literally giving this one to the pirates. It was the same thought I had when they did the alternative episode 1 on April Fool's. I'm just sitting there going, okay, cool. So is this going to be there? Yeah, we're not live streaming it after the fact, and you've just given it to the pirates. I'm just like, what was the point? What was the point even doing this if you weren't going to make it globally accessible day one?
I mean, it's probably once again on the Japanese partner's part. Like, I understand.
I know. It's that sense of like, okay, if you're gonna complain about the piracy, don't do the thing that would make them want to pirate more. You're doing it now too. Well, it's U.S. only. Really, and piracy people could probably rip it off of a television stream in under 45 minutes and have it up within 6 hours. Well,
Shit,
we'll
I don't
stop it
even-
any way we can.
Shit, I don't even
Yeah.
remember the last time Adult Swim updated their own video protections, because that usually was the easiest thing to rip from.
And
That's just sad. I mean, I've seen people say this, that Adult Swim is just treating this like every other show, the new show that they have. It doesn't immediately get available in other countries, but you can't do that with
Wasn't
an
Samurai
anime.
Jack like
with the
available in like?
sequel. It actually was available in the UK and a few other countries, but not that many. I can't remember if it, despite the fact that Samurai Jack is a regular fixture on Adult Swim Canada, I don't think that they got the new episodes on air, which is bonkers.
That is weird.
one thing
Maybe
to really
they
take
did by
away,
now.
one thing to really take away, I see, is that one of two things regarding how FLCL Progressive did poor in the ratings than expected, but the iTunes viewer sales seems to be high. It
Mhm.
means I have two takes. Either Fully Cooley is that niche and there's a strong cult following supporting it, or the mainstream audience, when something that is a world premiere, they'll just download it or DVR it for later, watch at own leisure, which kind of makes
Yeah,
live
yeah,
television
actually-
kind of moot.
Yeah.
It's there.
It'll be interesting to see when they post the L+3s if they have. I don't think they posted L+3s yet on some of the Bronx and stuff, because typically, like, Dragon Ball Super was getting summers in, like, the high 70s, 80s, so it'll be interesting to see what Fully Cooley, if it does actually get inside that top list.
Oh, I hope it does.
I would hope so, too, at this point, because if it doesn't, then it's just like, I understand this is a really nice art project you want to do here, but that money could have gone better elsewhere.
Yeah. And I mean, like, we talked about the block at this point, but it's like right now, with Fooly Cooly being the only variety and this mystery show that they're teasing so much, I'm just like, what am I to look forward to at the end of this year?
I
don't know,
have
man.
I have a
honestly don't
scary
know.
thought.
Go
You
ahead.
know how Toei has announced they're making an anime about one of the Dragon Ball video games?
Oh, Dragon
One
Ball
of the-
Heroes.
Just saying.
Well, that would confuse people.
Those games never got localized.
Actually, from what I've heard of, they're doing a new one for the Goku Black arc in Heroes, but it's not going to be like a full thing. It's just going to be like a small short that they're developing or something like that. I have to double check the info.
Was only joking with that one. Like, although I'm glad Dragon Ball, at the very least, the dependency on it's going to run out soon. Kai's ending. It's only a matter of time before Super ends, and it looks like the franchise is going back to movies.
For now.
Mhm.
Which is
For now,
better
anyway.
We'll
Yeah.
see how Toonami handles that when Dragon Ball Super runs out. I'm probably just gonna rerun
They'll
it.
be. I don't
Oh
want
boy,
them
I
to-
can't wait to relive the movie arcs again in 2020.
I'm
By that
pretty...
time, Naruto Shippuden will be only 4 years away from completing its run.
God damn.
Jesus Christ, that show is long.
Can't they double up on that? Like, can they ask Viz
Probably
nicely,
not.
hey, can we...
I mean,
can
at this point, maybe they should, because they're just wasting slots anyway.
Because that's something I've been thinking about regarding some of these long...
Put
running
another Naruto on at 2:30. Who cares?
Like,
Well, I mean,
you did-
wait for Space
I-
Dandy Day. I apologize.
No, that's fine. Go ahead, Don. I think you were talking.
yeah, I was thinking, like, maybe for something like Naruto, or if it was still on One Piece, they could have just doubled up those to fill slots and just move up the pacing, which might get more people to watch because it goes a bit faster week to week. Because I think that's really... I mean,
Yeah.
Keep
With
going.
these
Weekly
long-running
years-
shonen, there's a built-in problem that, one, at the very least, the sub is widely available, and a lot of people don't care about the dub. They just don't, particularly with
True.
Naruto and One Piece.
Although I will say Naruto fans are incredibly loyal.
Oh yes,
Just
Stepford Wives.
like no matter what time slot Naruto's been moved to, it has always done well.
relatively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, lately it's like not even getting a 0.2, but I mean, neither are the shows
Well,
ahead of it.
I was gonna say, I mean, Naruto not even getting a 0.2 is, to me personally, more likely from the fact that we still have Jack's blood slowly leaking through the ventilation shafts on the frickin' Absolution.
I think
Graphic.
that's overstated. I really don't think that's the problem.
No. It was a 30 to 40% loss overall when they started those reruns, and we've never recovered from that. Like, I mean, I can understand something, say, like Tenchi, to a lesser extent Black Clover, where it's like, okay, yeah, just get him out of the way. But Jack was a situation where it's just like, okay, why? The moment it happened, and even if you go back to the base ratings that we have, there's a distinct hard drop at that point. It's just like, yep, Jack just committed suicide, and there go the ratings. Thud.
You
Well,
know,
that's a theory.
I think they still have never learned their lessons from Attack on Titan. Is what have we learned
No.
here, kids? Is never, ever rerun a premiere at a very reasonable time slot because
I've
people
always said
are
it
not
like
going to tune
this.
in.
I've always said it like this. You never rerun a show immediately after it premieres, and you never rerun a show within the first two time slot, within about maybe the first hour and a half of 2 hours. Because it just, you will lose so much from the drop rate because, okay, cool, premiere, oh, it's a rerun, why would I want to stay? And they leave, and even with the Fully Cooley season 1s to a certain extent, you were kind of seeing that.
Yeah. I think the only exception to the rule is DBZ. Like, that is literally
Yes.
the only exception to the rule.
We'll hopefully never see if it truly is the exception to the rule.
I think it will be.
Please, dear God,
I
no.
notice that Lupin this week actually gained from the show before it.
I did notice that. That was nice.
I
I
don't
mean, it's
expect
kind of
that
a
to
shame
last
that
long.
it beat Cowboy Bebop, which is a better show, but and Space Dandy for that matter. Still,
Which
not,
gotta pay
that's
respect to
nice.
the OG. Lupin is
I want
my
to know what
worst
happened with JoJo because my gosh, it lost so much from Fully Cooley.
I can't but think two seasons JoJo. I think one, a lot of people who started watching with the first arc thought it was immediately going to be stands and crazy posing off the bat. When that wasn't introduced till Stardust, and now we reach there, we have kind of a bit of a formula here where Jotaro and company keep running into a enemy stand of the multi every other week.
Yep.
And it just kind of goes into a pattern. It's entertaining pattern, but kind of want to get to Dio.
Yeah, I
And
would like to get the deal at
if they
this
have
point.
Diamond is Unbreakable, please wait until next year. Just wait.
God,
It'll be
yes.
fine.
You just
Don't play it for at least 3 months.
Well,
That might
I
be
would
the
say
other
3 to
thing
6
is-
months at least.
I mean, if Attack on Titan is coming back, which I think it is, and we don't know when, if it's the day one
Supposedly
thing.
supposed to last 6 months.
But yeah, it's 24 episodes this time compared to season 2's 12. But
Yeah, because they probably
If-
saw how 12 episodes, what is this crap? Reaction from the fans.
well,
like,
from what I hear, this next arc is less Titan fighting and more political talk. So this is long. It's
Oh,
a long,
Joel!
long
This
arc.
is gonna be interesting.
We're going Gundam!
Yeah, it's pretty much Gundam with people.
yeah, and know how that well
We're going-
done for the Tsunami so far.
The problem is, I think Attack on Titan actually made you better than Gundam.
Likely.
I'm sure it will. Though, I mean, the second season didn't do gangbusters.
I mean,
Well, I pin on the fact that they never should have done season 1 like they did and then had that 2-year delay. They should have
Yeah,
waited till they
like-
had more stuff to do season 1.
2-year delay. It was a 4-year delay.
yeah, I think. Yeah,
I don't
agree.
remember, okay?
4
Yeah,
years was
That Attack on
way too much.
Titan season 1 was like one of the hypest things out there. Then, it didn't have any follow-up, any real direct continuation aside from a comedy SD spinoff.
Yeah, which wasn't good.
And then, interest just kind of died out. People moved on.
Yeah.
One Punch
there
Man
was-
became a thing.
Then
My
My
Hero
Hero
Academia.
Academia comes along and it does one 13-episode season. People like it, so they get a 24 episodes the next time, and they get 24 episodes the next time. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
And
What
it
a
didn't
concept.
take 4 years.
What a concept. Shonens that take breaks as opposed to mind-numbingly insulting filler.
Starting to worry that the wait for One Punch
That-
Man is gonna take a toll.
I think it not being animated or not being produced at
Oh, yeah.
Madhouse is going to take
No
a hit.
Madhouse, no Shingo Natsumi and his wonderful people who actually are working on the new Fooly Cooly. Some of them are. So that's nice. But man, no Shingo Natsumi on One Punch Man. Do not want. Seems
I'm
like a
sure-
bad idea, guys.
I'm sure season 2 will be fine, but it just won't be the hype machine that season 1 was, and I think that'll even reflect whenever Toonami picks it up.
Just like Attack on
Mhm.
Titan.
I think the
Yep.
very moment that I just started to lose hope for Toonami, and I wrote that thing earlier this year. It's on Toonami Faithful about the skepticism of feeling certain uncertainty. But when when Paul had that interview with Jason and they got to talking about DBZ Kai, he's like, "Well, I can't tell you because we're not sure yet." I was like, "You're not sure yet? It's a month away from ending, and you're not sure yet? It's a highly debated
Yeah,
topic around
Like-
the office.
Yes,
Don't
like,
do it!
the,
Don't do it!"
yeah.
Wow.
The moment I heard that part, I immediately paused the video, went to Twitter because I was doing a live tweet of it while listening to it, and I immediately go, pauses audio upon hearing DBZ Kai. And I just repeatedly copy and pasted, don't be stupid, 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 and unpause. And it's just like, oh dear God, how do you not know? We're going in circles. Oh, my brain. I mean,
Look,
honestly,
I never
I-
never subscribed to the thought that the Dragon Ball Hour was a catastrophe thing for Toonami. Maybe it eventually got towards that direction, but Dragon Ball will hold Dragon Ball better than anything else. That is probably a fact.
I will say bullshit to that, because I think there's potential for these shows to grow. It's just, I think having 2 Dragon Ball shows is not a good idea, at least not in the early hours. I understand why they did it at the beginning, because they wanted a consistent lineup, and I think they thought it was a good idea. But at this point, we're fatigued. We're done. I don't want Dragon Ball to rerun.
No, I don't want it anywhere before 2:30 if it replays. But I will say this: if they do rerun DBZ and they don't bury it, if they keep it even directly behind Dragon Ball Super, it's not the worst thing in the world. It might do all right, but boy, is it gonna throw my enthusiasm out the window because it
Oh,
just
yeah.
shows that they're not willing to move on. There are all these other shows that they should be grooming to be something more than they currently are, and they're not doing it. They're putting all their eggs in the Dragon Ball basket.
Which isn't a smart idea, in my opinion. I
No, it's not.
Because people are bored of Dragon Ball.
I don't know. At this
Yeah.
time, if they do rerun DBZ Kai, I just think that they don't have any competence in any of their shows, which is insane to think because all of them are really popular.
Yeah,
Well,
they're all really popular. I'm sure they spend a lot of money on pretty much all of them. And they're airing them. I mean, bless their hearts for airing them because nobody else would. Nobody else.
Yep.
Nobody
There
else on
is-
TV would.
there is-
There comes a point where you can still do better. You
Yeah.
can still do better, and you should. You should. I feel like their attention is just too divided, and I think it's good that they have focused a lot on original productions. I think that's really good. It's the direction they should be going in, but they
Mhm.
can't just let everything else fall to pieces because of it. You
Mhm.
gotta
Yeah.
micromanage it a little better than that because
Yeah.
it feels
Yeah.
like everything else is just on autopilot, even though they clearly put a lot of effort into the bumps.
I mean,
and,
Sketch,
all the
at least
stuff that
it's
they
not,
throw on.
At least it's not Adult Swim autopilot where it's like, oh yeah, we're just airing Bleach, and I guess we'll air Durara, and here's Bebop.
Yeah.
It
we can
always
limp into
could
the
be
barn with.
worse.
Look,
It
I hate to
always
say
could be
that.
worse.
Yeah. I hate to say that 7 to 8 premieres is boring, but I mean, if they're all kind of the same long-running action battle-y stuff, it gets boring.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Honestly, and this is. Go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna say I dropped the block like last year when JoJo came back. I'm like, okay, so this is the direction you guys are going. Okay, well, I'm leaving. I'm out.
I could have left the moment they started Kai up again, but I'd say it would be I think I have more stubborn hope with this than I really ought to have at this point. But I think the main issue right now is it's the way Toonami wants to run is almost counterintuitive to how most animation is being made in Japan, because what they're trying to do is, you know, per what Jason has said, where it's we don't like screwing around with the schedule all that much. What they're trying to do is they're trying to get like 1+ year long shows so they can try and maintain that stability and not really realize that, you know, actually the variety is probably a better concept, because the more new shows that you can obtain, the more likely you're going to get people to come in and watch the other shows. So the problem is they don't really want to go like try to acquire all, like 5 or 6 different anime in a year, and they'd rather do it like maybe like 3 to 2 if they can. And the problem with that is it creates a stale situation. So it's basically like, okay, I get you don't want to make the block too confusing, but there's so much that's being released and that has been out for within like maybe the last 5 years. Just go get that sort of stuff. I mean, even if it's only like maybe 6 months, you're going to probably get more people coming to watch it than airing the same thing week after week for 2.5 to 4 or 5 years, when likely most shows probably have an expected lifespan of maybe about a year now, at least on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I think the problem is, though, and like I mentioned before, they're not really looking. I think they're busy with other projects, which is fine. But I think they're not really looking. They're just kind of like, okay, what's popular? What's in a request box? This show's popular, and it's long too, so let's get it. And it's kind of like, okay, but it's kind of like I want something new, something exciting, something that makes me go, yes, I want to watch this on here. And I haven't felt that way in quite a while. Like right now, everything's just kind of dull.
I don't think I've felt that way since, like, actual shock at an acquisition was probably Thundercats. I think an actual, like, this looks to be interesting was probably Michiko and Hatchin. Maybe Tokyo Ghoul. I would probably say more toward Michiko and Hatchin. I really haven't felt like an active, like, hey, I'm actively interested in wanting to watch this show for some time. Because a lot of it's just like, okay, yeah, it's another popular show. Okay, let's just see what this does. And I'll admit, you know, I'm impressed by a few of them, but broadly, it's just like, it's the same Shonen stuff. And God, what was that one time when I was looking at Jason's Ask FM where someone, like, directly referenced me and the whole, what I called the Shonen Jump arc, and he straight up just basically said, well, God, how did he say it? Like, if that's your problem with the block, then don't watch. And I'm sitting there going, really? That's your response? Okay,
I
that's a
don't
bit
remember
weird.
that one, but doesn't sound good.
Jason,
well,
Jason's a weird...
Sorry, go ahead, but I'll... Go ahead, Don. I apologize. My thing's on like a 9 millisecond thing.
I'm just snarking at how Jason can be a bit insecure and can be a bit blunt when it comes to critics. For example, my boyfriend, he didn't like Intruders 3, and Jason made him an example of that.
That's uncalled for.
It is. And the only way he could find out if I think he just looks up his name. Because that's how it felt like.
Yeah, he does occasionally like peruse Twitter for people talking about things on Toonami. Because sometimes he's responded to one of my tweets when I didn't even add him, and I'm like, "What? You're not actually following me, so I'm confused."
Yeah, I don't think he's ever done that with me. I think he's responded to a couple of my questions, but I would not be surprised 2 bits if he hasn't muted me at this point.
I was blocked by him at one point.
I'm not entirely sure why.
Because I didn't like
Well,
his taste.
I think I've been blocked like once or twice by him for random reasons. Because I'll sit there, someone will do a conversation like, oh well, Jason said this. I'm like, well, why didn't I get that on my Twitter feed? Like, and I'll go to it and it's just like you have been. It's like you cannot read a tweet, and I'm like, okay, whatever. So I just had to sit there and like scroll through and see what the conversation was about. Where was it?
Yeah. Thankfully, I do not interact with him on Twitter, nor do I really say much about like Toonami, or like I shouldn't say that. It's like I do talk about Toonami a whole lot, but it's like he's never really added me or like been a part of any conversation that I've done that's been sort of criticizing what they've been doing. But it's kind of like, whatever.
I mean, Jason's human like the rest of us. He can make mistakes. He can say things he probably shouldn't have said. And I try to keep that in mind. But sometimes his interactions on Ask.fm are just like, why did you even respond?
Oh, yeah.
Because it didn't make you look good. And it didn't help it.
Yeah, agreed.
But we're not really here to bitch about Jason.
No.
Let's bitch about his pet project.
Yeah.
I guess that's a decent enough transition because I think, generally speaking, Toonami, you know, it could still be good. It could be, but confidence is dying.
I don't know.
If they rerun Kai, it's gonna die even more.
Yeah. Well,
Oh yeah.
I'm at least hopeful that this unique show is whatever. It's like maybe it's a comedy, maybe it's something completely out of left field.
We're gonna try something out of the box. By the way, here's My Hero Academia.
Oh, okay.
So what is that out of the box show? I've been waiting since Space Dandy.
So.
Oh, you know what'll be the fucking pits if they air that unique show at like 2:30, and I'm gonna be like, you guys have no confidence in like anything.
Well, if it's something like
on what the show is,
a really, really old show like Masaki Yuasa's Ping Pong, then I could see that maybe being a better idea than putting it front and center. But
I would at least try 1:30. Like 1:30 is like okay enough time.
I mean, Allison keeps mentioning Osamatsu, and you know, Viz likes to get their shows on Toonami.
I'm all for Konosuba. Give me that dub, Crunchyroll.
You know?
Yeah, seriously, where's that Konosuba dub? And get Alex Fun David to direct it.
You know, it'd be the perfect question to end this thing before we move on.
Mm-hmm.
To paraphrase a iconic, is Toonami on Adult Swim a failed experiment when you really think about it?
No, I don't think so. But I think they've lost their way.
Fairy Tail when?
Oh no!
As long as people keep asking for it, there's a high probability. That's
what about,
stop asking for Fairy Tail. Stop asking for Gundam Wing and Yu Yu Hakusho and any old Toonami show. Stop asking. It didn't work well for Outlaw Star. It's not going to work for any of them. Except maybe Sailor Moon, which they'll probably get as soon as Hulu says, yeah, we're done with this.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe.
Every season there's at least a couple of shows that come out. I'm like, ooh, this would be good for Toonami. Like, fucking Blood Blockade Battlefront.
I want that so bad.
I know it's another Funimation show, but come on.
I'm gonna pull something obscure out of the library for the cheap. Because last year I was doing sort of a weekly anime thing, and one show I stopped on was a show I picked at random called Gun Sword. It was really good. In a
very early Adult Swim anime. Very much so.
It had robots.
Trigun meets
Gundam.
Wasn't that
It was
designed by
fun.
the
Actually,
same
hold
guy
on,
who
try
made
Guy
Gundam?
who the guy who designed, one of the people who worked on Code Geass did it before that. So if you haven't seen it, if you're like Code Geass, it's on Funimation.
I feel like the story kind of went off the rails, but it has Mexican Gal Gaigar, so also pole dancing, controlling a robot. Can't go wrong.
You have my interest peaks now.
Yeah, I bet I did.
Do you like women? Because there's basically a neat character, like a mix between Faye and Fujiko.
Oh yeah, isn't she voiced by Michelle Ruff?
Yep.
Yeah, I
Yep,
thought
that's
so.
why I brought up.
Where can
Carmen
I find the
99.
show?
Funimation.
And it's going into my queue of this endless sea of shows that I'll be drowning
Right.
in.
Huge commitment. Yeah, it's like there's just lots of good shows out there, and it's sad that people aren't like rallying behind those, and they're just pushing all their effort on the newest, hottest thing, or something that was popular a couple years ago, or something that was popular 20 years ago.
Hell,
Gotta keep feeling that nostalgia or that
Star.
popularity boner.
And with how simuldubs are being made, like, if they can't get it immediately, I just would like to say to them, move on. Like, don't listen to requests, just move on.
Probably for the
Yeah.
best.
kind of wish studios were trying to be a bit more. See Toonami as a viable option to get their product out.
Well, that's the interesting thing, because broadcast revenue is actually a pretty sizable chunk of export revenue for Japan still. I mean,
Oh,
a
you
lot of
saw
it is Asian channels, but in the US, it's all Toonami. So at the very least, Toonami's doing good business for Japan, throwing money at Japan. Whether or not it's beneficial to Turner is what's debatable. They mostly just do it because they want to. Well,
Kevin just brings up a point.
WS wants to.
What if Fairy Tail is Kai's replacement?
I
I
don't think that's happening.
think I'd rather have it than Kai.
At least the characters in Fairy Tail are likable.
It's the
Some
better
of
of the
them are.
two wizard shows.
Oh man, get you away for the Fairy Tale Black Clover hour.
It's like having a shot of Dr. Pepper and a shot of Pib Extra.
Oh, I like Pib Extra.
I do too, but I don't like Black Clover though. So
Still, it's a fair. I don't hate Black Clover, but I'm just not the least bit interested. I caught
Yep.
part of an episode the other day. I was like, oh, this is not well animated. I'm just gonna not watch this.
That sounds like
for
Studio
some reason
Period.
forced my. I've watched every episode so far, and it is just like I'm my only enjoyment right now is shitting on this show, and honestly, it may
Shonen
not
by
be
the
most
book.
proper of. Yeah, it's literally shonen by the book. I've never had a show that have actively pissed me off. If it wasn't for the fact that it was on Toonami, I would have dropped that by season 1, episode 2. It was that bad.
You guys remember
lead character
Mare?
sounds
I liked
like-
Mare so much more than Black Clover.
the least of Black
Yeah.
Clover sounds like Ichigo trying to do a Naruto impression.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I kind
So,
of almost
yeah.
want to
Switch
hear
topics
Johnny
then.
Young Bosch do an Asta impression.
That would be interesting, actually. yeah,
So
we
we're gonna
should.
jump into Fully Coolly then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Scene
fully
switch.
coolly. So, let's preface this. It's got 0.29 with 18 to 49. It got pretty good demos with young adults, particularly young adult males. Apparently, it won its demos with 18 to 24 males and 18 to 34 males and 18 to 24 adults. It's good. It's great. I mean, it doesn't have much competition in that slot that particular week, but hey, a win's a win.
Yeah.
And it is doing exceedingly well on iTunes currently, number 2 in animation. So that's all good. And it held My Hero Academia beautifully, like less than a point. less than a 0 point. So, yeah, I mean, it didn't knock it out of the park, but it did well for where it was, and to that
I was gonna say,
why'd you put it behind 2 glorified reruns?
we don't got faith in this massive art project we're putting millions of dollars into for some reason. Huh? This is your love child, apparently. Don't you think you should give it a little more credit than that?
I know they don't give a crap about marathon ratings, but if they're willing to play a rerun of Fooly Cooley at 10:30, 11, and 11:30, y'all think should probably put the new episodes somewhere in there? just a thought.
Let's rerun the whole thing and then have absolutely zero faith by keeping it in the exact same time slot. Really?
Like, the only thing that alarms me is it did about as well as the 3rd episode of the original did in the same spot a month ago. And why?
I never looked that up.
Oh,
It's
jeez.
it's heavily promoted. It got all kinds of advertising. There was plenty of interest at every panel that they did. Like, I kind of don't understand it. I'm sure a large part of it is because television is way down and Fooly Cooley is just not as popular as people think.
I think most people are going online to watch it because that's how I watched it.
And
I'll agree to that, which is why I would...
AdultSwim.com, I hope.
Yeah, because
I watch it through Spectrum TV, but
I watched it streaming too because I don't get the East Coast feed.
DirecTV
on TV
is.
Man, I feel cheated. The Adult Swim app on Roku, it'll do the live feed, but it won't give me the East feed. I have to watch the West feed. I'm like, well, then I'll just watch it on PlayStation View. That was the whole point of doing it. Back to the computer it is. And I even watched it more than once.
Yeah, I watched it twice because I thought it was very forgettable.
I watched it once, and then I watched the original first episode, and then I watched it again. Just to be sure that I felt what I was really feeling.
I thought this was going to make I didn't think it was going to make $1 million, but I figured
nobody thought that. Nobody with reasonable.
I figured, 750,000 for the first week just for the intrigue and the hype alone, but can't even live up to that. Like, I'm a bit shocked. Granted, Comcast did fuck over Cartoon Network by making it a premium, and that's to be adjusted.
Not helping anything. But you can't ignore the fact that before Fooly Cooley super did great, Kai did fine, My Hero Academia kind of crapped. And then Fooly Cooley held on to that.
If they want to get their money back, why don't they just move it to after Super? I know that's front-loading, but...
They should have done that to begin with.
Yeah, because at this point, they're not going to move their schedule because they're stubborn and they don't want to just schedule change randomly.
And honestly, if they did, it probably wouldn't help that much.
Yeah,
because
unfortunately,
damage is done.
Yep.
But still, I kind of feel like they should do it anyway because they spent a lot of money on this and they should try to get what they can out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and must remember the premieres are usually the highest. I mean,
Not always, but
the first episode is usually the highest, so you gotta wonder what the downward slope is gonna be like.
I kind of don't think it will do worse, but
I'm figuring.
Who knows?
I'm honestly figuring
word of mouth.
It's gonna do
they
probably
make it do
around
better.
600,000.
600, 500,000 for me. In terms of total.
600,000 is kind of the average of Midnight lately, which is like I want to throw up when I say it. Because it wasn't even like a few months ago when DBZ was getting double that at that spot.
It's like back in 2015 when DBZ reached 2 million at like midnight. That was insane.
Praise Lord Frieza and the Resurrection F preview on that one.
Yeah.
Didn't the Comic Got Kill have like huge viewership?
1.8 million. It was a 1.8, 1.5 million. And who was that? Sentai, I think?
Yeah.
Sentai.
Yeah, Sentai gloated about that, and I'm just like, dude, you would have gotten like a million best case scenario. You don't get to pull that crap. That was all Frieza. You praise Lord Frieza and shut up.
Well, there was maybe a little bit of intrigue because it was a fresh dub and it was a show that.
Well, agreed,
not that-
but again, I mean, even with that fresh intrigue, I was honestly thinking like I figure maybe a million in most cases,
Yeah,
and then we
probably
the
a million,
2 million,
1.2 maybe.
and I'm sitting there just like, what in the fuck happened? And it's like, wow. And the moment I saw the ratings, I literally tweeted that day, yeah, this is from the Resurrection F preview, folks. This is a fluke. You will never see it again.
And then we never saw
Ow!
it again.
And they never,
Yep.
I mean, can we go back to 2015?
I'd like
Back
to
when
for
when
ratings
people
numbers,
still had
yes.
cable.
The block as a whole. I want to see Kill la Kill again. I know it's on Hulu, but
It's just not the same, right? I mean, it was so good they played it twice, and it did fine the second time.
Hail Satsuki.
For the rerun slot, anyway. It, regularly beat One Piece.
So
Wasn't like Attack on
Slowly.
Titan beat One Piece, and that was on Leader 2?
Yeah, and One Punch Man, and I think Parasite maybe once or twice, but not often.
Well,
So bringing this
Poor
back
One
around,
Piece.
I guess we could probably just start off with this. I mean, what'd y'all think of episode 1 for Fully Progressive?
Forgettable.
I think, yeah, that's Sam's stance through and through. Do you have any other thoughts, Sam?
I literally can't even tell you. Like, I don't even remember anything from that episode. And I watched it twice. All I remember is
Ouch.
that fat kid in the unisex skirt and
Because you
the-
can't forget that.
it's burned
because
into
they
my
think
head.
it's funny. And William Stewart think it's funny, so they put it in the fucking bumper. Yeah,
Yeah,
Paradise
when
isn't
they
good
should
in-
have made the bumper like, unfortunately, ma'am, your daughter will be okay.
Yeah, that should have been better. But
Yeah.
and then the second one was like when they were watching porn. That was literally it. Everything
Well,
else was
I mean,
like
that definitely stands.
Well,
it stood out, but it's like I really couldn't remember anything, and that just surprises me because
The
I
Fooly
remember.
Cooly was never subtle, and yet I still feel like that porn scene was just like, oh, okay, so we're just not even trying to like make a metaphor here. We're just doing it, just going.
I mean, I would say for an episode 1, I would say it works, but with me, I'm looking at like the more. I was looking for the subtext behind it, and that whole first. I think it was like the first 2 minutes in the whole dream world thing to me was just like, okay, you're kind of foreshadowing a bit too much here, guys. Like, do we really need to know all of this right off the bat? Like, I would have been fine if it had just been her walking through the city and then just stumbling upon that monster and then it opening and then she wakes up. Because it's like, yeah, I mean, you're kind of giving a decent amount away for foreshadowing at that point because it's just like, okay, yeah, that's kind of obvious. And then it just, it was a lot.
So you're saying
of,
the narration was too much? I really liked
I wouldn't even
that
say
part.
it was the narration. Well, no. I wouldn't say it was the narration because the narration itself from Hidomi was actually really good. I liked the dialogue. The problem is it's when they're literally showing the medical mechanica buildings, doing the ironing, and then she goes into the suit and the symbol on the visor shows up. I'm just like, really, guys? Really? We're gonna do that now? You would sit there and think they would have tried to slid that maybe a few episodes back. And it's just like, okay, so yeah, that calls out the obvious at this point. And then going from there, it's just like, okay, it's a few good moments, but it just feels like a lot of like reusing a lot of a lot of the better moments from episodes 1 through 3 of the first season. And the only ones that actually gave me like a legitimate chuckle were the unisex joke. And then right before Haruko pulls off the mask, when Hidomi's looking at her phone, in the lower right corner of the screen, there's actual subtitles. Right, and everyone's sitting there going like, well, how do you pronounce Fooly Cooley? I thought it was Furdy Curdy. I thought it was Fooly. I thought it was Fooly Cooley. It's like, and they're talking about it, and I'm just like, ha, the eternal argument. And those are like really the only two moments to me that stood out. And it's just like, I mean, even when Haruko showed up, I'm just kind of sitting there going, yeah, I kind of saw that coming. So
what's the Vesper being in the parking lot not a dead giveaway?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I saw that
Not to
too.
mention, stay
and even
away
I
from
was
the
just-
Vespa woman.
Well, the thing with me was even when I saw that, I'm kind of sitting there going, "Oh, there's Haruko's vehicle." She pulls off the mask, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay, cool." Because even as I'm looking, even into the deeper subtext of it all, it's like, "Oh yeah, she's already had sex with Ide. That's already basically established." So, well, at least she's still being her manipulative self. That's a good thing, but.
I kind of
Probably the
feel
only
like he
other
was
arc
just
was-
embellishing.
Well, there's that possibly too, but then when she says, when after Hitomi watches it and then she walks away,
I don't
okay,
need
who's
to
next?
touch
Me,
you,
me,
Rita.
me. Yeah, I already know what you're like. Aw, and I'm like, so she either had sex with him or she has made a lot of innuendos with that guy. So it's like, there's a lot of... Fooly Cooley had 3 levels in the first season. There was the surface level, over-the-top randomness. There was the first sub-level, which was the whole, like, middle school puberty, angst stuff with Naota. Then there was the third sub-level, which was the whole, like, Haruko, manipulative, evil person, and the medical mechanic with Atomix thing. I feel that they're pushing the Atomix thing way too much at this point, which is almost kind of pointless. I mean, good start, but... And I'm not going to call it off completely, because... Especially with a show like this, you kind of have to watch the whole thing before you make a legitimate, honest opinion about it. But it's like, good attempt. I just honestly feel there was too much being taken from the original to make it seem like it was being its own thing.
And my thing is I don't think it borrows enough, because I think it's way too static at points. Like, Fooly Cooley was a bunch of kinetic energy, and this just felt like a standard anime. Like, okay.
Yeah.
So what's so Fooly Cooley about this? Because
Freestanding.
when Hitomi gets hit by the car, it's like they don't do anything unique with it. It's just, oh, she gets hit.
It was a
That's it.
He got hit
recreation
by the
scene.
car, and we have a humorous note from it, and no slow motion.
Yeah, no slow
Yeah.
motion scene has Haruko and Mami just randomly break character casually. That was
No actual fourth wall breaking. I mean, there's references to Fooly Cooley, but there's no actual fourth wall breaking. And I'm like, it feels like an important element to not include.
I totally forgot that the first episode of the original had like this whole fourth wall break where they're kind of like behind the scenes, like talking.
Yeah,
like a
it's
van.
They're in
crazy.
the van. Haruko's talking to her. It was the whole like. It really sucks how long you have to hold the position to do those slow motion scenes. Wait, that was all post editing? Yeah, I mean, why do you think we had to sit there the whole time? That whole scene when they're in the trailer talking about it. Yeah, that thing.
Yeah,
That's
that
hilarious.
is. See, that's the thing. It's not just simply a slow motion joke. You add levels.
Yeah.
It-
Lots of levels.
And for
That
Fooly
was
Cooley
Cooley-
had multiple layers.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
it did. It did. And a lot of it came out of just a certain level of madness after doing the Evangelion movies. I mean, who wouldn't feel that way after making the movies?
And
But and the rest is like personal experience. And it's lightning in a bottle, and I'm sure that we all understand that you can't recreate that. But
Mhm.
you can certainly give it a good successor. It's
Well-
too early to say if we're there, but it's at the very least not as strong an opener as the first OVA by any means. Not in animation, not in story, not in
Mhm.
no.
And
I
think
I feel
by-
like
Yeah.
I think IGN showed a preview of the second episode, like one the fight scene, like I think that's at the end.
Oh boy.
That animation scene did not look good, and that kind of
Yeah,
makes me wonder
Nope.
if a
Nope.
B
Nope,
team
good.
is animating this season, and season 3 will just have
Well-
gorgeous looking visuals.
Well, from what
Yeah,
I
because
remember
season
hearing
3
about,
had nicer looking visuals.
all I have to say
Yeah.
is I'm probably the most negative one here about this. I thought this was pretty bad.
I thought
I'm
Forgettable
being
was
nice
a
at
bad
this
compliment.
I think pacing of
I'm
the
being-
device was terrible. I think the animation was god awful. It was static. There was no movement. It's like it's clearly where we see Gynex had a role in the animation process because the characters just so staticky. In a particular moment, like when Hidomi's mom with the knife. There needs to be more motion in something like that. And I feel like the characters a bit unlikable. Like Glasses guy. Like this is gonna be the male lead, this cliched pervert. And the pacing is like not just for the plot, it's just that skirt scene went on for way too long.
Oh yeah.
They were
Yeah,
trying to
dude.
do some of the conversation. I think they were trying to recreate some of the conversations Takun's friends at school would talk about, but they didn't last for 2 to 3 minutes.
The Vespa woman.
Yeah, it's like, where's
She
the
gives
crystal?
you a demon mark and it never goes away.
And something else, like, it's kind of obvious they're trying to do the same sort of typical love interest and bizarre out as a worldly love interest dynamic with Hidomi, only this time it's Glasses guy in the Mamimi role and a new girl in... Granted, I think the one thing I did like about this, I like Jinru.
Yeah, Jinu's
I like her
great.
design. We get someone who is not as well known in the role,
Gotta
so
like
she
that
gets
car.
exposure. Design, I just feel like if the writing of this episode is any indication, I don't really feel like there's gonna be a satisfying payoff for her.
Oh boy, that maid outfit.
Oh yes.
She's making good on it. Just breaking all those plates. Somebody said that was a reference to Gunbuster. I don't know.
I haven't watched Gunbuster, so I have no
Points
say
if
in
they
that.
did, because that would mean they referenced something that isn't FLCL, which they did a lot. You know, it feels like kind of reminds me of that a bit Red Letter Media did regarding
Naruto.
yeah. Like I said, like I tweeted this out on Sunday morning, just how this reminds me of a bit from Red Letter Media Star Wars parodies. Like, remember this?
We got the member berries here.
Yep. Remember?
Remember when Naruto was getting chased and he grabbed the girl's arm and they ran together?
Remember
Yeah.
Barry?
Remember Little Busters?
Yeah, I'm not offended by the usage of that, but it does kind of feel like, hey, remember this? You like this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna say the good that I feel about. I like the intro. I really like that pillow song that they played as the intro. I
will
like
say
the
Yes.
I will
like
say
the
music's
animation in that
great.
first part was like the best part of the whole
Like the dream?
thing,
Yeah.
except for the ending sequence. The ending sequence is the most intriguing thing to me because it seems to be building on lore there, and I like that. I like where that's going.
I don't know.
And I
those
also like that
scenes. I don't know
Mimi
those
is
credit
just
scenes.
kind of hanging out. There's
As long as
there's a
don't
lot
go on-
that could be going on there, and I think it could be an interesting story. And what I wanted out of Fooly Cooly Progressive was an interesting story about what goes on with Medical Mechanica, with Thomas, you know, all of that. And,
I
you know,
really
what's
hope that
Haruko's deal?
happens.
Like,
But if they're
I
just going to focus on
really
these new
hope that
kids and kind of rehash the original in a lot of ways,
Then what is
Not-
the point
not-
of this?
not super enthused.
Yeah.
But I do
Honestly, that-
think that Hidomi as a character, compared to Naoto, Naoto's more of a kid back then, and Hidomi is more of a kid now. And I think that story is worth telling if they
Mhm.
do it well. And the key is if they do it well. And
yeah.
Ide's friends kind of feel like I want to say they're IGPXing it here, both because of how they're designed, but also because it's like, hey, this is more of an international thing now, so let's not make them all look like anime characters.
yeah, this
Let's not
Mm.
make them all
designs
act like anime characters. Let's have
Hidomi's
have a Mexican guy named Marco, and he's a sensitive soul that doesn't want to hurt any of his friends' feelings, and he's probably gay.
Hidomi's mom looks like Mako, though. Let's be fair.
Yeah, she does. It's like if Mako became a mother and just kind of chilled out a little bit, but not entirely.
Would Ryuko
but
be the
I am
mother?
interested in what's going on with like her family, because one of the great things about the first episode of Fooly Cooly was those occasional moments where it got really serious and kind of dark, and you have this moment where one of the characters is just breaking down. And they kind of had that with Hidomi when they started talking about her father, and I want to see where that goes.
Yeah, that did feel like when Takun and his brother was brought up, like that was one of the well done moments.
Yeah.
It also feels like a real rehash of the previous thing, but I guess that's just kind of how it works. So we'll see how it goes. Personally,
I like Alternative better as the first episode, though.
I do too.
Yes.
I like Alternative better. I think it's a better cast. I feel like those characters act more like real people than these characters.
That's another thing. This isn't like Fooly Cooly before Haruko shows up. The life was a bit absurd, but not unrealistic. This was already people even going crazy before Haruko is even implied to be on screen, like blowing the load.
Yeah. Oh, but I did enjoy Haruko pretending to be the teacher and her whole spiel and her fast talking. I got a kick out of both of those.
Yeah.
That was entertaining to me. I was like, oh, that's probably Haruko. Probably, because it's clearly Kari. And I enjoyed it. But then I was kind of like, oh, I like that character. I still like that it's Haruko, I guess, but kind of a downer.
There was
that
hope that the teacher and Haruko would have been two separate people.
A split personality?
Separate people.
I would have just rather had them be two separate people because it'd been funnier. Because again, Haruko was never really like directly involved in anyone except the person she was manipulating. So in this situation, again, there's that subtlety aspect where it's like, well, what's Haruko's game here?
Candidates?
Yeah, it's pretty obvious she's trying to, I don't know, try to get these people into Fooly Cooly and just harvest it all for
harvest for the horde.
That way. There's certain things about it that are charming, and then there's other things about it that feel like we're trying way too hard. And I don't like it. And the animation isn't bad, but it's nowhere near as good as the OVA. Just nowhere near.
Well, I mean,
you can tell the difference in how Gainax does it and how Production IG is doing it. There's a clear difference.
There's a different director on board, which is more important than like the studio producing it, because Production IG like is a name. They've made some pretty okay stuff that's not been well animated.
Yeah. Production IG has made like some crazy stuff before.
Yeah,
it's not the studio that's the problem.
It's the director. I think the director of this is the same guy who directed Psycho-Pass, which was animated the movie, not the show.
Yeah, he did the movie.
Oh.
I think he might have done the first season of the show, too, because IG didn't actually do the second season.
That was a problem.
The second season was terrible.
I wouldn't go that far, but...
I had to watch it in a day. It is one of the worst things ever.
Well, I wouldn't have watched it in a day. It's probably not a good use of half a day.
Yeah, I don't remember Psycho-Pass looking bad, or it was animated bad. I don't know what happened here.
It's a very nicely animated show.
I mean,
maybe it's the set expectations of it being Fooly Cooly, and we're kind of like, okay, there's a lot of kinetic energy with Fooly Cooly. That wasn't there in this. It just felt okay.
No.
I mean, granted, this is a TV anime while Fooly Cooly was an OVA.
Yeah, but
somehow, on the counterpoint though, look at Kill la Kill. That had a very fluid and kinetic feel to its 26 episodes.
Yeah,
it also cut corners.
Animation shortcuts just fine.
Yeah.
It did cut corners. Also, some of the janky use of CGI is Not great. Speaking of janky use of CGI, that car flying through the sky. Oh man, I mean, there was actually CGI in the old Fooly Cooly OVAs, like the slow-mo scene. I'm pretty sure was CGI, but it was used sparingly, and probably for the best. I think we can all agree that it would have been nice if any of the directors from Trigger were on this show.
Oh,
for sure.
definitely.
Oh yeah.
But honestly,
I
I
still
feel
find
like-
it hilarious.
I feel like
go ahead.
Trigger is just busy with their own stuff, and who knows? Maybe they were
They're-
asked, and
they're-
we're like, we don't want to do that.
They're busy with the Triggerverse, which is basically every show that they've ever created under one universe.
But that's kind of the crazy thing, because I feel like there's a lot of spiritual successors to Fooly Cooly. There's Gurren Lagann, there's Die Buster, which is obviously a direct sequel to Gunbuster, but is also in the spiritual successor to Fooly Cooly. Even stuff like Space Patrol Luluco and Kill la Kill, just all of that manic craziness and fun.
Kill la
and
Kill has a
excitement.
reference to Fooly Cooly.
Yeah, exactly. The people that worked on Fooly Cooly went on to make really cool stuff, and they moved on from Fooly Cooly, but they didn't move on from the spirit of it. And that's
Which is why
missing
I always found
here.
it old. Well, what I found funny about that was the fact was that both in the Q&A and in the first behind the scenes, they straight up just admitted to the fact that, yeah, a lot of the veterans we asked, they wouldn't even touch it. So we just ended up getting a whole bunch of new people to work on it. And I'm sitting there going,
that is a bit.
what? My first honest thought was just like, so your Teen Titans going this? Because they literally said in the first behind the scenes, they said we are getting a director and writers or like the whole team who has either never watched or never heard of Fooly Cooly. And I'm just like, my mouth dropped. I'm like, what?
This sounds like a great idea.
Work for the Mario movie.
Look,
People have no idea.
Great talent can come from anyone, anywhere. So I don't hold it against anybody for trying their own take on Fooly Cooly, but they gotta do something interesting with it to make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
And they may very well do that. Maybe only the first episode of this is gonna be Fooly Cooly: The Fooly Awakens,
Yeah.
but should be the
That's a lot of Fooly
Awakens.
Cooly for enough Fooly Cooly to strangle your Fooly Cooly.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, maybe everything after this won't feel like such a rehash, and it will go interesting places. And I hope that's what happens. Because I'm seeing all these reviewers
too.
around, like, it's the general perception of this is it's good or great. And there's about 25% that say, no, this is bad. I don't like it.
I
But-
would give it like
so
a
about what we're doing
6.
right now.
I think it's good and fine, but it's not great. It's not great
I see-
yet. And Fooly Cooly original OVA was great from the first episode. So
This would be good if it didn't have the
Yeah.
name of a masterpiece on it.
yeah, probably.
I don't know. Like, I think a name doesn't necessarily dictate quality. I think
No,
like,
it
It
certainly
brings a
doesn't.
comparison. Like, if
Yeah,
this was
it-
its own
Yeah.
thing, it would probably be seen a lot better, but it's being compared with something that was great, so that just means it's hard to measure
There's all
up.
these people out there that are like, yeah, this is exactly what I wanted. This is a sequel to Fooly Cooly, and I'm like, gosh, I wish I felt that way.
I don't feel that way.
Yeah.
You probably were like the people
I
like,
honestly, I wish I felt that way because I wanted to believe. I wanted to believe. But so far, yeah, it's okay.
it's kind of like
I just hope. Go ahead, Don.
like I was gonna say, like it's like feel like the people who are spearheading this, William Street, like they're fans. I'm not gonna deny it, but I feel like they're into it for different reasons. Why someone like me is into it. Like I look at the scenes, I look and analyze and appreciate the work that was put into it and the subtleties. I think Williamson was like, "Whoa, that's a giant robot popped out of his forehead. This music's great, but this makes no sense, and I love it. We want more."
Well, that's possible, but I think that at least most of the people that really spearheaded this over at William Street have a deeper appreciation for Fooly Cooley than, this was weird and neat, and we want more.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm pretty sure Jason and Mike are huge fans, and they understand Fooly Cooley a lot, but they
wouldn't
they
have
did not-
pushed it for
they did
15
not-
years.
yeah. But
Thank
I'm
God
pretty
Clark
sure
Walgren.
even though
Does
they
that
looked
mean-
over this, I'm pretty sure they weren't really concerned about getting good writers or like the same staff on. They were just like, make more.
Oh yeah,
Maybe.
that's
I don't know.
they were
I don't.
knowing from the way it feels like this was less about making something. I don't know how I would want to say it. I honestly think Jason said it best, where this is basically just a really expensive art project that we've always wanted to do. So
That's
Yeah,
cool.
they're
regardless
not
of
looking to
how-
make money off of this.
Yeah, so
It's
so
a good
th-
thing,
this is
because
a
they're
case
probably
where
not
it's
going to
like,
make any.
oh god. My only fear with that statement is like, if that is in fact the case, what's going to happen to the block as a whole, if anything?
Well, I
'Cause
mean,
that's
at the
that's
very
my
least,
biggest
it
fear of the
might
whole thing.
discourage them from pursuing more original productions.
I don't know. Because Samurai
But-
Jack
I
did
think
well
they
for
would
them.
do more original. I think they'll do more original productions.
Yeah, they would
it's
probably
just-
do at least one more. This is
I-
clearly
eh.
something that they just really wanted to do, and they don't really
Oh,
care
yes.
how it does.
Well,
Oh yeah, agreed.
sure hope AT&T doesn't successfully buy out, because I can't help but see there'll be a lot of changes to the structure if they buy out Time Warner.
There's
Yeah.
that too.
Perhaps. Perhaps.
Well, I'll
Uh,
keep watching it. I mean, I'll be interested
I-
to see where it goes, especially with that credit sequence showing the whole Adamus thing with Haruko. I really hope there's something else more to that than it just being a credit sequence, because I'll watch it. I'll
It
definitely
had
give my
better
opinions
animation
after
than
it's
the
done.
show. That's already a hint.
It's only 6 episodes long. It's not that much of a commitment.
I
No,
know,
I mean,
I
it's
know.
not.
I'll stick with it till the end. Like, I want to give
I-
this a fair
well-
shot because I've never been a fan of the original Fooly Cooley, but I respect it. But this so far, no.
and
I
people
have
that
to
do
wait
like
till
it, I
all
think
6 are
that's
done.
great. I think it's great that people like it.
Yeah,
I
I'm
just
happy.
wish that I did.
Yeah, we may have to do this again once all 6 episodes are done, honestly, just to see
Oh,
after all the
definitely.
fleshed out and all the stuff is done, just to see if our opinions have changed on it. But, well, I mean, at least we have more Fooly Cooley. Whether or not we honestly wanted it, I guess, hey, Adult Swim got what they always wanted. They got it back.
And I hope
Oh,
So,
I hope they have unlocked episodes every week they come up because I don't have cable, so I'm like, I don't want to
I
be
would
locked out
assume
or
they
use
would in
pirate
this
sites.
case.
Someone's probably throwing them monkey paw regarding, I want this really great Gynax series to get a sequel. It's like, oh, damn it, this ain't Panty and Stalking Season 2. But seriously,
Okay.
why are you?
Touche. Touche. The year
Okay,
Gynax ruined
so-
Christmas for everyone. Oh man,
do
we've been at this a while.
Well, I was gonna say we've been at this for a bit, so I guess the question would be: do we want to end it here and then maybe come back to the whole Thundercats Roar thing at a later date, or if we ever do this again, or what? I think we've been at this for around an hour and a half at this point.
I feel like we're really
At
getting
this
the
point, I would probably say
Thundercats.
I would probably say
All
we could
right.
probably call it here on that, since people
Just
probably have to
as
do
a
stuff in the
teaser.
morning.
As
I
a
gotta be
teaser for
honest.
next time, Thundercats Roar. I mean, it might be good, but I have no reason to believe it will be. And I hate when people are like, you shouldn't judge something by the initial images. It's like, I am 32 years old. When am I going to get to the point where I can be old and cranky about things and not give them a second chance? I want that. I want it now.
Yeah, there you
Let me
sure.
make my knee-jerk reactions and just let me have that.
Yeah, I have to admit, I feel like the whole going into Thundercats world seems kind of barely tangibly related to what the topic at hand it really is, and
That's fine.
The topic at hand is, man, Warner Brothers, why didn't you even try to make this work on Toonami? Because it did well. It did so well on Toonami.
We can discuss that at a later date. I actually got to listen to that Dan Horton interview, like that one on SoundCloud, and all the way through. If we do that,
I don't believe everything he says.
like
True.
I only have two things
I
written
still want to
down
listen to
about.
it.
Like I only have two things written down about the action cartoon portion. So yeah, I'm willing to come back on a later date.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
You're right, Allison. I shouldn't give a crap about those things. So my initial reaction doesn't matter. I mean, if kids like it, okay. But, I mean, kids deserve better.
You know, Butch Hartman actually. Let me just look up the tweet here. Butch Hartman.
Oh man, I watched Butch Hartman's reaction to the trailer, and he was trying to sound so nice. He even said he liked the guy's hair. I'm like, oh
See,
man, you did not just say you liked that guy's hair.
The Butch Hartman tweets out. This was a week ago. Why
did nobody tell him that they were going to be recording? Why would you rock a man bun and have so much confidence in it? I'm sure he's a lovely individual. I have nothing against the guy. I don't think he's necessarily being honest the way he's talking about the show. It was like, yeah, action's going to really be our focus. Zoom in on dopey-looking Lion-O image.
Note how he has not really said anything on social media. His peers have come out to defend this, but he's just like, he's being silent.
Yeah, I mean, sure, if it turns out to be kind of a weird-looking show with really great story and good comedy and isn't just like, wasn't this show really over the top? Let's make fun of it. Great! But I have no reason to believe that it will be that. I have no reason.
Like I said, the tweet that Butch Hartman made a week ago was like, why reboot a show if you're going to change everything about it that people loved in the first place?
Yeah.
That's like the one industry guy that has come out to throw shade.
Because everybody else is all like, oh, yeah, that looks good, or, oh, come on, guys, it could be good. Because they all want to keep working. They all just want to keep working. And, I don't blame them. It's a good thing I don't have aspirations of working in that industry. Because I'm sure I would have burnt a bridge by now.
Never.
It happened to a guy on Toon Zone.
Well, to be fair, if you mean the Matt Wilson incident, I totally remember. It's a guy who was trying... Oh, well, yeah. Actually, now I was thinking about Matt Wilson is not in the best position.
He got blacklisted, apparently.
Well, there was a guy who was also named Matt Wilson who tried to write for a cartoon, but it's like, hey, you're the Matt Wilson, that asshat on Toon Zone who keeps criticizing everything? We're not giving you a job. It's like, had to go on a message board, had to go on Toon Zone to write an article.
I'm not Matt Wilson.
I'm not that Matt Wilson. Find out Matt Wilson, the bonus stage guy. He's kind of like
bonus stage.
Like he does.
Witness the failure.
Like I still follow his work occasionally. He has a lot of good aspects. It's just, just whole pissing everyone off in the industry with his blog. Like,
yeah, not a good plan if you want to work in the industry. You kind of have to.
Yep.
Curb your ranting.
Well, I think
this has been fun. I think it was a successful experiment.
I enjoyed this.
Hopefully,
it was fun.
Oh yeah, agreed. Oh, agreed. And this is the first time I've had more than 5 people on my stream in quite some time, so I'd like to do this again just to get more viewers.
You're welcome. So next time, we will probably be discussing the state of action animation on American television. Because it's... Oh boy. It's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
It's...
But watch Voltron on Netflix, please.
And She-Ra when it comes out.
Oh yeah, She-Ra and Troll Hunters and all those. Like, just watch everything on Netflix.
Yeah.
They're good. They're good.
We have no
Even
idea when we're going to be doing this again, though. So
Yeah.
just to let people know
could,
out there,
it could be a while. But yeah, on Netflix, shout out to Stretch Armstrong and the Flex Fighters. Actually, really good. Not like fantastic or spectacular, but it has good people working on it, and it's a decent action cartoon. It kind of reminds me of Static Shock, except not nearly as culturally relevant. I mean, Dwayne McDuffie, rest in peace.
So we want to do a final call then, or who wants to
I'm
go
Sketch
first?
1984 on Twitter.
I am at the real Don East on Twitter, and I have a blog that I rarely update. DonEastunleashed.wordpress.com. Most of the people who know me are already watching this, so who knows?
My Twitter handle is at SZUniverse. I mainly do a lot of things for Toonami Squad, and I'm so behind on a lot of things there as well, but I shall catch up soon.
And I am your wonderful data monkey, Colt Burr. Thank you again for coming out to my actual Twitch channel, twitch.tv/lifevirus. I also do mostly mobile games for Final Fantasy Record Keeper and Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. I'm doing another stream tomorrow for the new dungeon update, but if you want to see this again or watch me play mobile games, the following would be really nice. And yeah, you can also find me on Twitter at AmbientVirus. Most of my stuff's down below since you're here. You can just click on that stuff and I think maybe Brian the YouTube link. It's mostly still relevant.
Oh, can I put in a little plug here for something sort of related?
Go ahead.
Tomorrow, the Fragments of Silicon live stream podcast is going to do E3 coverage, so check that out. They are twitch.tv/Fragments of Silicon, so figure I'd do that,
Promoting a
my
Twitch channel on a Twitch channel. That makes sense.
my boyfriend helps out on that.
Well, I think we're done here then.
Yep. Thank you guys for having
Thank you.
me.
Yep, no
Thanks.
problem.
Thank you for the invitation. I feel like this is very therapeutic.
Yes.
It was indeed. And
I think
thank you,
I
Cole,
think it's
for hosting on
therapeutic
your
for one.
channel.
Oh yeah, no problem. I kind of figured if we do this again and Paul's here, Paul's going to try and steal the thunder, but who knows who we're going to have. But, again, thank you all for coming out. I really appreciate it. And, yeah, we're done.
Paul will steal the thunder. Thunder! Thundercats!
Like dominating the DeMarco interview with Thundercat questions when DeMarco has nothing to do with that.
Well, I mean, Jason
I'm going to turn off the
prompted that.
credits thing right now. Going to do this. Going to go to credits. And I will turn off the sound now because I believe we're done. Have a nice night.